All right, welcome back to As Told by You. Today we have got Jay Kilmartin on. Jay is our neighbor here in Colonial Village, owns the Melting Pot, is one of our legislators for the state of South Carolina, so thank you for doing that. My first question for you, Jay, is why public service? You're a successful business owner. Why get into the legislature?
4 years later, I'm still scratching my head, and I literally walk into the State House floor, and my desk mate is Joe White, and I'm like, Joe is a businessman, and I'm like, what in the world are we doing here? The people that are down there, if it's ever normal to me, that's when you need to kick me out of there, because it is so bizarre. I'll try to make this story quick. I've not always been political until about 25 years ago. I started paying attention. Grew up conservative, Democrat, Catholic. Now I am a far-right whack job, I guess, playing bass guitar in a Baptist praise band. So did South Carolina do that to me? Well, partly Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh and just, paying attention. But I was actually asked to run when my predecessor retired. People called me because I'm involved in the county party. I was kind of a Tea Party roadie. I'd be the guy supporting them and moving the equipment around and bringing them chocolate from the restaurant. But I was never the guy out front, and I was okay with that. I'll write you a check. I'll do a fundraiser. And my predecessor retired, and I was getting calls like, we got to find somebody. And I'm like, I'm trying. I mean, that is the hardest thing to do in politics, getting good people to run, because it's actually an insane job, and it doesn't pay. So after a couple weeks of asking, two legislators came and met with me, I remember, over at the restaurant, and they were like, you don't know what we're asking you, do you? And I'm like, huh? And no, I don't. And they said, it's you. And I said, I think I cussed at him a little bit and said, okay, the meeting's over. Went home, told my wife, and we literally, she said, we got to pray on this on our knees. And we got on our knees every day. And on a Saturday, I said, okay, let's do this. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, we're gonna run for State House. And so that's how it all started. And it is like a whirlwind. It's been an education in civics. We're in an ugly place right now, and I can go into as much detail as you want with that. But I am a conservative Republican, and the liberal Republicans, the moderates, give us more trouble than the Democrats. So it's and they spend lots of money trying to defeat us. So there's kind of a cabal going on down in Columbia, and everybody accepts it the way that it is.
Yeah.
Backroom deals, you hear these things and you're like, no, that can't happen. It happens. Yeah. It's all political theater when you get to the House floor.
Wow. Well, it seems like that's maybe the way a politician should be made, right? It should be that you don't really want to do it, but you feel called to it in some way,
I would hope. And there's a lot of people that are really comfortable down there that love it. It's just a big party for them. It's like a fraternity.
Yeah.
They
are there term limits for state?
No.
Okay. So you can just do it as long as you're elected.
Yeah. The guy in the district right next to me won on term limits, and he's been in there 20 years. And I'm like, what's up with that? And he's a friend of mine. And he's like, well, if I'm not in there fighting for it, we'll never get it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, so I would love to understand kind of how that's going for you. Like, do you feel like you're making progress? Do you feel like you're making some difference?
That's kind of a loaded question. My group makes progress, but the perception is that we're there to rattle everybody, and they call us obstructionists. I was in the Republican caucus for about a week, and they put up some Republican caucus rules. First time for any Republican caucus in the United States to give you rules, and Rule 16 was you're not allowed to campaign against any other Republican. So if my son ran in District 40, I couldn't campaign against the incumbent. And you're down there with a lot of these politicians. If one of them's, unfaithful to his wife or an alcoholic or just not a good human being, you're not allowed to say anything if you're a Republican.
Wow.
So we had a group of 17 people that said, no, we're not going to do that. So I say one of my biggest accomplishments was getting kicked out of the Republican caucus in my first week.
As a Republican.
As a Republican. And now they campaign against us. They spent $300,000.
Aren't they breaking the rules?
No, they do it through political action committees. Oh, okay. And we know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
One guy actually is paid by the Republican caucus, and he has a taxpayer-funded office in the Blatt Building. So how awkward we get in the elevator with this guy, and you're like, it's that guy right there that's putting out, mailers. Jay wants the death penalty for women who have had abortions. You're like, and that goes out, and I knock on doors. We're good at knocking on doors, and you get some women coming to the door. You're that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Get out of my, I'm like, well, they forgot to mention that I'm one of the rare conservatives that's against the death penalty.
Right.
So, yeah, you leave out that part.
Hard to have your own real opinions.
Yeah. So negative mailers work, and they don't work, but I've got a lot of grassroots support.
Yeah.
And people, because I've been involved for so long,
Mm-hmm.
I used to be known as the fondue guy. Now I'm the representative from District 85.
Well,
where is District 85?
It's one of the most bizarre districts. 100 years ago, they flooded the lake, and now the district is split. Nathan's District 71 is in between my two districts.
Interesting.
So District 85 is Chapin proper, from about the interstate all the way to Timberlake. And then I have a carve out in Irmo and Columbia.
Huh.
So I know every neighborhood and every door.
Yeah.
So it's a split district. I don't know how many miles there are between Chapin and Ballantyne, but it's very bizarre. And Chapin and Irmo are very different. The infighting in Chapin is really intense. It's the old families versus all the new people from that moved down here.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, I've got some allies on both sides. But man, you get involved in that, and that'll be the end of your political career. I've got like I said, friends on both sides of that battle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, and I don't really know anything about the districts either.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm in 87. That would be Forest Acres area.
I don't know
I don't know
the numbers as well.
I don't
other
either.
than right
like,
around.
who knows their district number?
Yeah, I know 40, 71, 88, 85, as far as number 69. And that's about it.
So it's interesting to me because I guess we had Oddity Bustles on as a city councilwoman and talked about how all politics is local politics, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever had a conversation with my neighbors and friends about state politics or about you know what I mean? Like we talk about national politics occasionally.
Yeah, unless it's something like, are we going to take and put a moratorium on building in Lexington?
Yes, we've talked about that a little bit, but there's very little state conversation. Do you find people aren't involved in state politics? Like, is that
I could literally go to my neighbor, who knows me,
right,
and go, "Who's your state rep?"
Right,
and they'd be like, Joe Wilson? And so it's kind of a joke we have.
Like wrong.
Yeah, it's kind of a joke that, we're not that big a deal. If you think you walk in here and they're all calling you the Honorable J. Kilmartin and the Sergeant at Arms, they all know your name.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's limos and stuff and, lobbyists. You go back home and I've had friends like, who's your rep? where do you live? I'm your rep, you idiot. No, and you don't want to do that, but
well, that's interesting though. I wonder why there's a disconnect between people and the state government, because it seems like state government would have more effect on people's lives than national government.
Well,
certainly.
that's what I say, keeping it local. When I spoke in front of the new ad hoc committee for modernization of DOT, and usually ad hoc committees have 5 members. They have 23, so you're like, okay, this is a big political ploy.
Right.
But I said, we need to give some of this road money back to the counties, because you can literally go down to a county council meeting and see all your reps there, and they deal with the C funds and all the transportation funds. And so, keeping it local is better. And I said in this meeting with the Secretary of Transportation, I'm like, how many of my constituents know even this guy's name?
Yeah.
Or if you're living in Horry County and you want to get a road paved, are you going to come to an ad hoc committee in Columbia?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to keep it local, and you wonder how much that's by design.
Yeah, because it seems like the more we pay attention to the things that are happening in Washington, the less we're paying attention to what's happening in Columbia.
Yeah, and I get lots of emails like, you need to stop President Trump. He's tearing down the White House. I'm like,
what do I have to do?
And the more I'm involved in state politics, the less I pay attention.
Yeah.
Because you watch that with the shutdown, and it's all theater on both sides.
Yeah,
You're like,
sure. Of course.
Who can we get people to realize that they need to blame this side?
You blame the
I certainly have noticed my life hasn't changed since the government shut down.
As a far right, far right isn't bad, but I think I'm just normal conservative. I'm like, shut it down.
Yeah.
And they should all be like, we're going to get paid for this anyway. They're not going to not pay us.
Yeah, it's interesting, how much that becomes a pageant in a lot of ways, but then how we don't know the things like city council that really do affect our day-to-day lives. How much city council really makes decisions for things that happen in the city.
So November 4th is election day. Are you on the ballot?
Not this November.
Okay.
I will be next November, but I'll probably have a primary because the Republicans downtown are looking for somebody. So you have the primary in June, and that's where the real candidates are chosen. You got to get out to the primary.
Because once you choose the candidate, that's pretty much it, right?
Yeah. And we're fighting a battle too of open primaries. Now it's not even a secret. You see people on TikTok going, hey, Democrats, we need to get in here and vote for this person because this person's going to be Freedom Caucus, and we don't want them in there.
Right.
And, we're 80% of Republicans want the primaries closed to just Republicans, and we've had a bill for 19 years, which tells you there's a lot of Republicans down there that benefit off open primaries.
Yeah.
They want the other side voting for them. So...
Well, what do you think is needed? What do you think is like the thing that's missing from state government as far as that goes? What would help?
People paying attention.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And some people that jump into the political arena will read a flyer or they'll get a TikTok, against somebody. My cell number, I put it on everything, and I'm like, it's the same number my wife has.
Yeah.
If I don't pick up, I'm going to call you right back. Call us. I'm famous for having lunch. Let's have lunch together.
Sure.
Let's have a cup of coffee, and I'll tell you the truth. At first it's intimidating because you get, I'm pro-life, and you'll have some very well-known pro-choice activists want to have lunch with you, and it really sharpens your skills and going, no, I don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's okay to talk about it.
But it's okay to talk about it.
We just don't believe the same things.
Oh, I had during the gun debate, what was it? It's a big national anti-gun group. If I remember it, I'll say it. But 2 older ladies, and they came in hopping mad. Like half an hour later, we're taking pictures together.
Yeah.
And, it was, I was like, wow, how'd that happen? But you just sit down and talk, and some people just want to be heard.
Well, and it's interesting, no matter how big your political division, usually when people can just talk to each other, they usually can find, hey, that's your opinion, this is my opinion, and we don't agree, and that's okay. And where when it's a level up or two levels up where you don't have a personalization to it, you know, you get that's where you get mad. That's where you get like, you know.
I didn't mention this. I don't think I told you, but I'll show you my letter I got back from the ethics committee. I created the South Carolina Cigar Caucus.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny, and
I like it
because I have, you know, Jermaine Johnson and Terry Alexander. We smoke cigars.
Yeah, sure.
And we're friends.
Yeah.
And we disagree on the House floor, but and I told my business partner Alex, I go, the great thing about it is if you have a group of politicians and you're smoking cigars, you got to shut up for a second to take a puff.
That's
so take a puff, dude. You know, it's going to go out. Take a puff. My turn. But we talked to each other.
Yeah.
And we actually like each other. And I'll go, no, dude, you know where I stand on that. No.
right.
And
But it's respectful discourse.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's just the cigar culture.
Right.
You know, and you know, somebody brought this up yesterday. You never see a fight in a cigar bar.
Right.
You know, we're all there just to get away from the world and have a smoke together.
Well, so shift gears a little bit. What brought you to Columbia? You're not from here originally.
Grew up in Fort Myers, Florida.
Okay.
In the restaurant business since 1979. I was 14 working at Chicken Unlimited and just went through my whole life being in restaurants, and went back and got a degree, 4-year degree at the age of 30, 29, I think I graduated, because I was working for Hyatt Hotels, and they said, you can't do that job unless you have a degree.
Yep.
So got my degree, bounced back and forth, mom and pop, chains, ended up working for the home office at Melting Pot, the fondue chain. And at first I had 13 stores. I was a consultant. Then I got the Bay Area. It was a promotion. They have some corporate stores. And then my vice president went to USC, and he came to me at a Christmas party and said, hey, we got to go look at Columbia. You know, they've been locked out by the landlord. And I'm like, what do you know about Columbia? And he goes, well, the leasing agent was in my wedding. I'm like, what? This is weird. Yeah, and he's down in Tampa, Florida. So came up and looked at it, and we had just built our dream house in Wesley Chapel, north of Tampa, in it 6 months. And I went home and I go, honey, what do you think about moving to Columbia, South Carolina, and selling melted cheese?
Yeah.
And she's been such a trooper, like when I was talking about moving all through Wisconsin as Floridians opening barbecue restaurants. We did it for years and years and years. And came up here, partnered with the owner of Melting Pot, and then bought him out, bought Greenville, same kind of deal. And it's home now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place. I go, you know, I love going to Miami and going diving, and but I missed my South Carolina after a couple days. It's so crazy down there.
Yeah, sure.
So,
when was that? When did you come in?
It's been 20 years. Yeah.
20 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Last time I went to the Melting Pot had to have been 98.
I hear that all the time.
Because we took my wife, who was then my girlfriend, her mom out to dinner for her birthday to the Melting Pot, and that's the last time I went. Now, I don't know why. I had a good experience. Yeah. I feel like I did it.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know. It's wild though from my perspective, because I'll leave our office at 5:00 or 5:30 or 6, and the whole parking lot is full.
Yeah.
People lining up to get into the Melting Pot. It's like it is a destination for people still.
Absolutely. Yeah. Unbelievably, we have a lot of really regulars, which is cool, because I've always seen us as a special occasion.
Yes.
And some people make up special occasions to come into the Melting Pot because they love it.
Yeah.
And so I love that when the economy went down in 2008, people stopped eating at their chains, but they wouldn't not go out for their anniversary.
Yeah.
Or
Or
their
graduation.
birthday.
Or
And
birthday.
it's like, we got to go to the melting pot. We'll
Yeah.
save up. We don't care. So
Yeah.
we've been really blessed.
I see a lot of fellas come with, and they're very obviously their only button down shirt. They'll wear it to the melting pot.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, I got to dress up for this one
Yeah.
because the wife wants me to dress up.
That's cool.
And so,
Yeah, and most guys scratch their heads. They're like, I got to cook my own food. Well, yeah, and your wife loves it because you got to sit with her for an hour and a half.
That's
You're
right.
not going to wolf down a steak and
it's
say,
a long
okay,
meal
time
and
to
it's
go.
fancy. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, what do you? So the restaurant business is notoriously not a great business to get
I
into.
was going to ask a similar question. Like, there's a dark underbelly to the restaurant business that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What has your experience been in, and how did you avoid getting wrapped up in some of the craziness of it?
Yeah, the alcoholism, divorce rates are through the roof in the
Yeah.
restaurant business. And my wife and I always remind ourselves, how do we get through that? You know, all the alcohol till 3 a.m., you know, at the end of your shift, you know, you've had rough days. If you had a freaking full bar in here too, you'd probably be like, I deserve a drink.
Just one.
Yeah, yeah. And I've
Maybe
been
two.
blessed. I've been really blessed. I stopped drinking 6 years ago.
Right.
Just because it was like, okay, it's the end of the night. I'm going to have a glass and another glass and another glass. And so, yeah, it's a joke. Like, my daughter graduated college, and I'm like, are you vaping yet? You know, it took my son about 3 days when he was in high school, you know, bussing tables. Are you vaping yet? She's like, no, Dad, you know I won't do that. But, yeah, the influences and the people that gather there, you could have somebody, you know, that's working there that have 3 kids with 3 different dads, and then you've got a medical student waiting tables, and you've got just a wide array of people. And you gotta, the culture is, we've worked on the culture for 20 years. We've had really good runs, and we've had bad years.
It's kind of everything in the restaurant.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too, a lot of that comes down from management. A lot of that comes down from ownership and management, setting expectations for what they'll tolerate and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And also, restaurant businesses notoriously low margins on food, certainly.
Yeah.
And so I'm always fascinated with restaurants that can survive for as long as yours has.
Yeah.
But thrive in that, you know, not hanging on by a thread, but like thriving.
Yeah.
What do you feel like the secret is to having the success in the restaurant for that long?
The customers that are loyal, that come in and go, 28 years ago, this guy here asked me to marry him in that booth.
Oh yeah.
And then, we sat there last year. We've had this booth 3 times. And you're like, whoa. I mean, we really, really mean something to so many customers.
But what do you think makes them loyal, though? Like, just because you go back to the same restaurant on your anniversary to relive that day.
Yeah.
But you still have to say, I want to go to the melting pot.
Yeah.
So what do you think what makes them loyal?
Well, we take the special occasions seriously. You know, now that everything is digital and we have, you know, it used to be harder. Now we've got notes on the customers. So, you know, they come in and they have a card signed by our whole staff during pre-shift, you know, for the Smith's 30th anniversary, and that's at the table. I tell my staff, like, you know, it's because we're special occasion, it's not just a regular meal. So do not screw up somebody's 25th anniversary. You know, there's a little pressure there. You know, you don't want them to go, okay, it's been 25 years. It's time to go somewhere else. So it's just the special occasion thing. And you know, we're not inexpensive. People take that a little more seriously.
Oh, sure.
And you know, we took a hit during the inflation years because people aren't used to going from $37 a person to $60 in a matter of a short time. So until their wages catch up, you know, you take a hit, and the margins are low.
Yep.
So, yeah, culture at the restaurant. When I ran for office, I hired Corporate Chaplains of America. I felt so guilty about not being there daily, and I'm kind of a dad figure.
Yeah, I was curious what your day-to-day operation, like day-to-day working life is for the restaurant. Like, how hands-on are you?
A lot less than I was. I was in Greenville yesterday for a loyal customer day. We had people in for cheese and chocolate, and sometimes I don't get there but once a week. I try to, whenever I'm here in the plaza, I drop in and ask everybody if everything's okay.
Yeah.
So I do still write a lot of checks.
But they've got it at this point, right? They
do. I've got two great general managers, and because of that culture, they know what I expect, and I'm blessed, really blessed.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, do you have to make reservations, or
Most
can you
of the
just
time.
just stop in and there's a table?
It depends.
Okay.
Don't ask me that question on February 14th, because I literally would have people back when we had fax machines faxing in sob stories about how you need a reservation. But on the weekends, get a reservation. Weekdays, you can usually drop in.
Yeah.
Or if you have a large party, let them know.
Well, I worked for a couple of years with the California Dreaming Group in my previous life, and what I recognized about those restaurants is that there was a very tight organizational structure. Like they had the operating partner was at the top, and then the GM was right up under that, and then so you had the general, and then you had the captain, and then you had the corporals and lieutenants, and then it went all the way down. And I think that's so important to have in a restaurant, to have for everybody to understand who's kind of directing their stuff. Give us some tips for restaurants. What if you're thinking about this as a place that's not doing as well? What would be a tip that you could give to restaurant to keep it keep it vital?
Not doing as well. I was going to go, if you want to open a restaurant, because I used to work at the home office and we'd have all walks of life come in.
Yeah.
Sometimes, loaded. We want to own a restaurant. I'd be like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Stop it. What are you thinking? And, some really good people fail because they have no idea what owning a restaurant is. So you got to be present. I was present for years and years and years, and now not so much, but I'm still I get a feel for the culture and what's going on.
Yeah.
Just be there, be there. A couple years ago at our annual reunion, we had a panel that I was on, and all operators talking about how they handle situations, and most of them up there were trying to outdo on how strict they were. I would if somebody did that to me, I'd fire them.
Yeah.
And so it got to me, and I said, I am the complete opposite of everybody on this panel, because I have been a terrible employee. I've done stupid things. I've not shown up for shifts accidentally. And these people would just fire you, get rid of you. And I've been so blessed through the years that I've had bosses that have gone, okay, we're going to give you another chance.
Yeah.
And these people would fire you. And I go, here I am now. I had 3 melting pots at once. And I wouldn't be where I was if it wasn't for good bosses that knew you're going to screw up. And they take you aside and they have a talk with you, and you get better. I think so many people just rush to, that's a terrible person. They've been late 3 times this week. They complain too much. I have seen so many really terrible employees turn into superstars.
Oh yeah.
And I've also been burnt. Don't get me wrong. I've also gone, I should have never done that, but I'm not going to stop trying.
You have to take the chance of getting burnt.
Take a chance
to be
on
a good
people,
person.
yeah.
And maybe the 4th chance you let them go.
Yeah, I mean,
depending on what it is.
If they have a consistent lateness problem, we just have to fix the lateness problem.
Yeah,
that's the biggest.
Christmas presents this year. Alarm clocks for everybody.
That's right. Everybody's got a phone.
The
Everybody's
restaurant
got
opens at 5. You should be here by then.
That's right. Yeah. That's funny. So tell me about the Cigar Militia. Where did that come from? Also co-owner of the Cigar Militia. Where did that come from to have a cigar shop?
So my payroll guy, Alex Zelling from Palmetto Payroll, giving him a shout out here. best friend, go to church together, do everything together, ministry together. And we would go over, it was called Modern Age before COVID. And I think a lot of businesses were looking for an excuse to close, and I think that was one of them.
I got you. So there was an existing shop.
There was an existing shop there, and it sat empty for a while. And we're like, oh, we're going to go to Costco for a cigar. It was convenient. Mm-hmm. And we came up with this idea, and from the start, it was always a man cave, a ministry. We're not going to make $1 million doing it. Literally, we just started not losing money after 4 years.
Right.
So it's paying for itself. Like, thank God. And that had to do with the traffic pattern being changed out front. So you get a lot of grab and goes, people walking in, grabbing a bundle. So that was it. And little did we know that opening up during COVID would be so difficult, because cigar sales went through the roof. Mm-hmm. And sales guys were hiding under their desks. Right. So you had heard about these people. I talked to my friend Chris, who owns a shop in Greenville. And you hear names, but they don't call you back. They're making some bank doing nothing.
Yeah.
Probably wearing their masks under their desks.
Yeah.
So I was literally driving to Tampa and buying hand-rolled La Farona cigars just to get something on the shelf. And finally, after so many years, I guess we were legitimate now because we hadn't closed. And so that was a little difficult hiccup, speed bump.
Yeah.
But so now we do Cigars and Scripture on Saturdays, the third Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. And it's been amazing.
Yeah.
It's really been amazing. We get pastors that come in and guys that chaplains, and do a devotional with a bunch of guys. And literally that's their church.
Yeah.
So
well, it's interesting to create the idea of the third place, right?
Yeah.
First place being home, second place being the job, and the third place being the other place that you go.
Yeah.
And it's certainly become that for me. I walk right down the street.
Yeah.
It's nice and easy. But I have recognized recently, since the traffic patterns changed, I'm running across a lot of guys that are on the way to somewhere, or they're they're from Raleigh, or they're from Wilmington, or whatever it is, and they're in town on business, and they happen to come by. So it's been interesting. I've met some really interesting people down there.
Absolutely. And we, with the search engine stuff, people that stay downtown, where they're like, oh, that's close. They take an Uber.
Yeah.
And we get to know them, and they're like coming back in 3 months, and we try to remember their names, and it's really been a cool.
You got to get the same POS system they have at Melting Pot, get all their information.
That's right. Record all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Good idea.
And then, check in here.
Yeah. Well, and as the stocks change over, so as the cigars, change over, the problem is the one you liked is not there anymore.
Yeah,
so you have to, would be good to have a system where it relates the one you like to something else. Right?
Well, Bill comes in once a month, so we know that his special cigar needs to be restocked by the time he comes in.
Yeah, that's right.
It's an automatic message over to Amazon, and then you ship it in.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Have it all.
So we're not as good at the Cigar Militia as we are at the Melting Pot.
Yeah.
Because of our POS.
Well, the stakes probably aren't quite as high, right?
Yeah. But we can definitely improve.
Yeah,
I've had people that have been regulars, and one guy was like, told us he's moving to Charlotte, and he started crying.
Oh no!
And he was like, "I've never been treated like this. It's my Cheers."
Oh yeah, that's right.
Everybody knows his name.
It does feel like that. When you
go
in,
and we're proud of that. I mean, if I'm sitting there and a new guy walks in, we say hi. Can we help you? If they sit down and smoke, you start talking.
Yeah,
and you can tell the guys that don't want to be, they just want to
smoke
a cigar.
Well, and it's ventilated well, which is a problem I've always had with being inside the shop. You want to be on the porch, that's fine, but like inside the shop, it's always a nightmare, and it's not bad down there. So it's it works. I ran into Tyler Robertson. Tyler came on the podcast because he was down there having a cigar when I walked in, and I had been emailing and LinkedIn messaging and trying to get his attention, and never didn't get it. I mean, I talked to him a couple times through messages, but we never did set up anything. And I ran into him at the Cigar Militia, and almost exactly like you talked about with the legislators, we sat out there. It's a it's a thing where you just got to sit down for 45 minutes,
Yeah.
right? You're nothing else to do. And so we had a good conversation, and I got in touch with him that following week, and we had him on the podcast. So it was really nice to have that third place where that kind of thing happens.
Yeah. I was out of town, and somebody from the shop called and said, "Hey, the mayor of Miami is here."
Oh God.
And I'm a big Dolphins fan. I'm like,
Sure.
oh, what's he doing there? Give me tickets.
Yeah.
But it was before the last election. He was trying to figure out if he was going to run. And he's like, why don't you have this brand? And he goes, let me make a phone call.
Oh, wow.
You're like,
Nice.
Oh, that's cool. It was Padron.
Well,
Yeah.
speaking of which, what's your favorite cigar type? Why?
I don't do the big spicy ones. Another weird thing is 12 years ago I had the flu and I lost most of my taste and smell.
Oh, wow.
So I can taste sweet and salty, but these, and I used to be a wine buyer down in Tampa. I could never do that again. But my staff knows so much more about cigars than I do, because they're getting cloves and cinnamon and
Oh, yeah.
oak, and I'm like, I'm getting smoke.
Yeah.
I got smoke. So, luckily we have people that really can run circles around me. So I usually get, I'm the $8 to $10 cigar guy, because I can't taste the difference. I mean, if you have a really good cigar, I can taste it. Funny story, I was in Miami for a charity. My buddy that owns a melting pot down there said, come on down, you're going to meet all these ex-Dolphins. And I have my little pocket of Rocky Patels. I think they retail for $8 to $10. And freaking Lawrence Taylor gets on this yacht with us. And he's got this champagne stick that's about 12 inches long. And he's like, can we smoke in here? I'm like, I don't think so. And I'm scared to ask. Then the owner of the yacht, 140-foot yacht. I go, Mark, can we smoke on here? And he goes, oh, go ahead. And Lawrence Taylor goes, you want to trade? And I'm like, oh, good Lord, I gotta learn to carry like a nice one with me too.
That's right.
And he's smoking this Costco Rocky Patel, and I've got this freaking $30 stick. And I'm like,
Oh my God, that's amazing.
and he was loving it. He was such a just great guy. But,
Well, I'm not familiar with football, especially professional football, but I know who Lawrence Taylor is.
Yeah,
so
yeah, he's
that's a good
character.
That's a good sign. A lot of the legendary football players, they'll mention the names, and I've never heard of them, but LT, I
LT.
do remember.
And he had his LT gold, diamond earring.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that's him.
That's great.
Yeah.
So I guess probably being from the Tampa area, that probably influenced your cigar smoking a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So while I was in college, I was bartending at a place called Mise en Place, New American Cuisine, but it's a French name. And we opened a jazz club.
Okay.
And it was the wonder years. It was so amazing. And we kept cigars. So literally I would go, to all the cigar factories and pick them up retail. We got a license to sell them. And so we smoked a lot of cigars then. And then I went through probably 20 years where it wasn't that big a deal to me. Mm-hmm. And then some guys from church, we started getting together 10, 12 years ago behind Benji's house. I was there last night, and we're still together smoking cigars every Thursday night.
That's great. Well, Brian and I choose it based on the budget and the length, because how long I want to sit there is the idea, right? So
Yeah, but I would imagine that there are 2 or 3 different brands at the same cigar length and price.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I think my way of going into a humidor is there's always that magic match between the length I want to stay there and the budget. Mm-hmm. And so, and I'm not as concerned with the character of the cigar at all, as much as
that's how I am,
right?
Since I don't have a great palate.
And I don't want a Maduro, that's going to be dark and bitter. And I don't necessarily want a really light shade Connecticut wrapper that's going to be too light, but there's always a middle ground. Mm-hmm. The Cigar Militia has a lot of different brands that I'm not as familiar with, but I've gotten to be familiar with, with having gone down there as much as I have. But I always stuck with the old Cuban brands. So when I was looking for a cigar, I would go with a
Cohiba, Romeo
Julieta, Arturo Fuente, one of those.
Do cigars pair with
Oh, absolutely.
drinking.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people drinking, they have cigars. What I'm saying is, like, we know certain meats and certain wines go well together, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
does a certain liquor go well with a specific cigar?
Yeah. I'd say a lot of brown liquors,
Yeah.
bourbon,
Yeah.
bourbon or a whiskey or a scotch.
Now, not at the Cigar Militia because, of our current
Total. That's a
Insurance.
long story. The insurance
our current
thing,
insurance
yeah.
situation. They don't sell. They don't sell that anymore. But so I guess maybe back to state politics. I did want to ask you that question. Is that something that you're working on? Is that something you have on the back of your mind? Is that liquor liability? Situation?
Absolutely. I've been very, very outspoken down there. I've spoken on the bills and had
Because it affects
opinions
you
on-
directly, obviously.
Oh yeah. And so we have a bill called S-244 that passed the Senate that's sitting waiting to be taken up by the House, and then we have a bill that passed the House, 3430, that's waiting to be taken up by the Senate. So we're all still stuck in the mud. My insurance went from $1,500 a year serving alcohol to $28,000.
Wow.
So I went down and turned in my liquor license, my beer wine license. That's all we had at the Department of Revenue, and did a little press conference. And they were freaked out. What are they doing in our parking lot?
Yeah.
You can't film us. I'm like, yes, I can. You're a public employee. I can walk in there with a camera crew if I want. But yeah, I've been really outspoken, and the Mom and Pop Alliance in the Upstate has been a huge, huge help.
Yeah.
There's another group called SC Venue Crisis, and they have been a huge. I've got friends with lots of jewelry in their noses and blue hair that I would never have met if it wasn't for the venue crisis, and really good
kind
people.
of a shared enemy, right?
Absolutely.
It's like when the Joker and
So
Batman
if
teamed up
there's
to.
so many organizations out there trying to solve this issue, what is taking so long?
We have too many lawyers in the State House. They are going to drag their feet. They're making millions of dollars off these.
The other
frivolous
side
lawsuits.
of this is the lawyers. So
Yeah.
and obviously
We have more
lawyers-
lawyer legislators than any other state.
Yeah, and the lawyers lobbying, the other lawyers. I mean, the restaurants and bars just don't have the firepower to fight it.
And we're all working. If they have a committee meeting at 9 a.m. and you live in Greenville and you closed your bar you got home at 3 a.m. So yeah, it's time. And NFIB, the Small Business Alliance, they've been good. There's been some groups, but how do you fight the South Carolina bar?
Well, and what is the end game for them? Because obviously, it doesn't make a lot of sense to those of us out here in the world to say we want bars and restaurants to close. Like nobody's clamoring for that. But
the end game is, their Mercedes and houses on the ocean.
I gotcha.
That's the end game. Money drives everything.
just not looking at the big picture as much as looking at what I'm getting out of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the doctors that wouldn't speak up during COVID.
Yeah.
And how they were treating COVID. And I asked MD, Dr. Jackson, up in the Upstate, why'd you speak up? And he goes, I was close to retirement. They couldn't do anything to me.
Yeah.
But they're all terrified. And he said that. He goes, they have their houses on the lakes and their little BMW, and they don't want that to go away. They love that.
Well, we had Phil Blair from WECO on to talk about it, and Christian Nemi talked about it a little bit when he was on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just such a big issue it's a big issue for citizens, even if you don't drink. If you're thinking about the idea that a place that you love might just close because they can't afford their insurance, that's happened often, over the last couple of years. So it's something I think needs to definitely
Maybe one
be
of these
solved.
political action committees should hire someone to tell the story about what's
To
really
tell the
going
story about it.
Yeah. I can't think of anybody in this area.
Who could do that? Well, and honestly, I think it seems to be very clear cut to me. We haven't had anybody in here who has defended it.
Yeah.
Nobody said liquor liability laws make a lot of
on.
sense.
Since another podcast coming on.
Man, I got to find somebody to defend it. So
Some
we
lawyers.
can have a lawyer.
I would like
on here.
a lawyer and an insurance guy
Right.
to tell us why this is proper.
Why is this a good
Well,
idea?
luckily, one of the lawyers was an insurance lawyer, Senator Massey.
Right.
So he made a good case for the insurance companies. And the So the lawyer's big argument is, have you seen how much they're making, their profit margins? I'm like, I don't care when you're charging me like a little bit over $100 a month.
Yeah.
I don't care if you guys, go and buy the Queen Elizabeth and buy an island. I don't care how much you make.
Right.
Just, because of what you're doing, there's fault on both sides. They took a chance, and a lot of the insurance companies just left.
Yeah.
We won't write a policy. That we went from 37 underwriters to 3, and I think there's 2 now.
Wow.
So
that's got to make it challenging.
And
on
you
all
know that
sides.
they colluded with each other because Melting Pot paid $67,000
Wow.
for 1 year. Why didn't anybody come in and say, I'll do that? Where previously it was $19,000.
Yeah.
Why didn't anybody come in and go, I'll do it for $30,000?
And we assume
They
Melting
wouldn't
Pot
do
can
it.
absorb it at some level.
It's hard.
But
yeah.
some people
I split
can't.
it between 2 stores,
Yeah.
but yeah, mom and pop couldn't just write a check for that.
Yeah. And that was kind of what Christian was saying is like, if you got it at a certain level, you can absorb it. But if there's somebody that's trying to get there and they're just getting drowned in this stuff, So
Yeah.
that's rough. Well, Jay, this is so cool. We've been talking about getting you on the podcast for a long time, and we're neighbors here, as we said, and so we pass in the hallway all the time. And
absolutely.
I come down to the Cigar Militia a good bit, and so it's good to have you on. So we end up podcast with 5 questions. What are your favorite things? And I'm going to start off with music. So who is your favorite bass player of all time? Let's start there.
Oh, very specific.
Yeah. Well, Jay's a bass player, so yeah.
Okay. So that's a loaded question too, because my favorite isn't necessarily the best.
Right. Which works well.
But my favorite is Geddy Lee from Rush.
Okay. Nice.
And close second is Chris Squire, who
Okay.
has passed away.
Right.
And then all the rest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
Jeff Berlin is up there. Jeff Berlin is phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, they're I used to be in a band with a guy who was sort of a cross between Geddy Lee and Steve Harris from Iron Maiden.
Oh, okay.
So he was
Okay.
he had the fastest right fingers I'd ever seen
Yeah.
in my life. Like, just unbelievable.
Wait, I saw Primus warm up for Rush in the early 90s.
Oh yeah.
And if you've ever seen Les Claypool,
Mm-hmm.
and it, a Rush audience is different. There's a lot of musicians in
Oh, yeah.
there. And I just remember looking around and they were like dumbfounded, eyes
yeah.
wide open, watching Les Claypool play.
Well, and Les Claypool makes it look so easy.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
he makes it seem effortless when he's doing all that.
Yeah.
All that twirly whirly on the bass.
He's a trip.
I saw them at Lollapalooza in
Okay.
'93, and it was one of the reasons I went to Lollapalooza
Yeah,
was
to
to
see
see Primus.
Primus, yeah.
And yeah, good gracious, what a talent.
Very cool.
Awesome. Favorite movie?
I'm not a movie guy,
Okay,
but I remember loving Shawshank Redemption.
of course. Yeah.
And then, I can't even. I've got friends that they know all the lines in Caddyshack. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
what?
My wife and I watched Dirty Dancing the other night.
Okay.
It just came on Netflix, and we're both the same age. We're 52.
Okay.
So Dirty Dancing came out when we were 14. I realize now that it was a horribly inappropriate movie for me to watch at 14, and
I was watching it, even younger.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
definitely disagree with my children watching it at 14. But my wife and I both knew all the lines.
Wow.
All the
Wow.
lines.
Yeah.
Not just the main lines, but like what Max was saying to a guest as he's walking by in the background. All that stuff is like, I don't know why it stuck, but that one really stuck. So that's
you
good.
gotta do Rocky Horror Picture Show and,
Yes.
and have an answer for all the lines.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, we're planning on going to Harbison Theater on the 1st to see it at Harbison Theater. So it's definitely on our list of one of our favorites.
Oh, that's so cool.
Awesome. What would be your last meal on death row? So if you were on death row, what would your last meal be?
Probably some Famous Dave's ribs with coleslaw.
Nice.
Their coleslaw, they put pineapple and horseradish powder in it, so it was
Okay.
sweet and spicy.
Do we have a Famous Dave's in our area?
Unfortunately, we do not.
Is that
There's
just the
one on
upper
the way to
Midwest thing?
Charlotte.
Is there?
Yeah, the
Okay.
Carowinds exit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've been to that.
there's
Which
one
also
there.
has a Culver's.
Yes, from Wisconsin.
okay.
When they built one in Fort Myers, Florida, I was like, I haven't seen one of those in 20 years.
They got one in North Charleston now too.
We went to Scarowinds a few years ago when we went to Famous Dave's on the way. I didn't realize that's what it was, but that's
Yeah,
exactly
yeah.
that's exactly what it
stuff.
was.
Yeah.
So very cool. That's awesome. Okay, so that's 3, right?
3.
Yep. So you said Miami Dolphins. Is that your NFL team?
Yep.
So what is your favorite sport?
Football.
Football?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And pro, you think? Or
Pro,
you,
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So I grew up rooting for the Florida State Seminoles.
Okay.
And then I graduated from South Florida, who didn't have a football team. So
Right.
I always rooted for them. And now South Florida's ranked, and Florida State are not.
Right.
And Miami's falling fast.
Right.
So yeah, that was a little bizarre when South Florida was playing, Seminoles and Bobby Bowden, and they were beating them for a little while.
Wow.
But so I am a fair-weathered Florida State fan.
Okay.
I know the coach and quarterback's name, and that's about it. But
Yeah.
I can tell you most of the practice squad of the Dolphins, and I'm just so over it right now.
Oh yeah, it's a rough season for the Dolphins.
Gosh, yeah.
So my second son is a Dolphins fan,
Okay, he's a good man.
and he was heartbroken when Tyreek Hill got hurt.
Yeah, I was
And
at that game.
The following week, they were playing the Panthers, so
Yeah.
I took him to the Panthers game for his birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a heartbreaking loss too because they were like winning most of the game. and then all of a
17-0,
sudden-
and yeah.
No, we actually sat in the stands for an extra like 10 minutes, just
letting
Weeping.
it wash over you.
processing.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That was a sad day. Yeah.
my game every year is who gets into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So
Who's up this year? Do you know?
So it's the big upset this year is Outkast. So that
Okay.
was interesting. Bad Company, I think.
I've heard that. Yep.
And there was not anyone that I said, oh, finally, Soundgarden got in
Yeah.
this year, which I thought was weird.
Yeah.
There are some large notable missing bands from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I
Primarily Iron Maiden.
Yeah,
is
and
not in the
Deep
Rock and Roll
Purple's
Hall of
not
Fame.
in yet.
Yeah, Deep
and,
Purple's not in. you know.
I would send a letter for Supertramp.
Supertramp, yes, of
Yeah,
course.
I would. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've seen Roger Hodgson a couple times. Never saw Supertramp,
Yeah,
but oh my gosh, what a talent!
man. I'll tell you. Well, that's awesome. And so, last one would be favorite dessert.
Chocolate fondue.
Chocolate
No,
fondue.
so there's
figured
a
there would be no
that's a
other
nail in that.
answer.
That's a
okay,
bookend, right?
yeah, that's the money answer. But my wife laughs at me like at any restaurant. I'm like, "Do you have flan?" and I was looking up recipes for flan, like when I go
Nice.
down to Florida,
Yeah.
get a Cuban sandwich and some flan.
Yeah, man.
So, but I do like flan.
I do love flan too.
Yeah.
it's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you can still eat chocolate fondue after all these years.
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
people
liquid
think
chocolate. and
Yeah.
Yeah, but
anything.
liquid chocolate to you, but you haven't been in a fondue restaurant
Yeah,
every day for the last
still.
20 years.
I think
right?
people think we eat there a lot.
No, I bet not.
We don't.
It takes
you
an
know?
hour and a half to eat. They can't.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
my last 3 years working for retail systems, we got the contract for salsaritas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I rolled out 85 salsaritas over the course of 2 years. So from 2004 to 6, we
Mm-hmm.
rolled out 85 salsaritas. That means I installed computers in 85 salsaritas. I got to the point where I could not choke that food down. Like they would give it to me for free. It was great. I mean, it was good food. It's better than Moe's in my opinion.
Yeah.
I could not eat it. Like it would not physically go down. And it was just because I had it every single day, because I was in a salsaritas just about every day for that period of time. And so it happens, know. That's good. It says something about your fondue that you can still eat it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not often. Like I love it, but it's not often. People think, like you said, it's a commitment.
Yeah, that's right.
Hour and a half. It's not like a regular restaurant where you can run through and yell at the
That's right.
chef, "I need a cheeseburger."
Yeah. I guess it's similar to getting hibachi or something where
Yeah.
you got to kind of wait for it to get there.
Yeah.
Give me the
exactly.
give me everything.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, Jay, thank you so much for doing this,
Yeah.
man. This was a great conversation. I appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.